Hey woodworkers. So you can see that I have sprayed this piece here and it has 3 coats, and now I need to start doing something called finishing the finish. And this really shiny haze here is good. The reflective quality is good. It's just not terribly clear. If you'll notice this section over here, you have a lot of highlight from where the light is coming through, and it's pretty consistent throughout. But what you can't see, or maybe you can, is that it's not terribly consistent. A lot of finishes you can do a great job with right off of the gun, and maybe you don't have to do this step. But for the most part, after we've applied the finish, there is some element of really working that finish and smoothing it out. So thinking about this as we have with sanding or even sharpening for that matter, we're trying to create finer and finer and finer scratches with all of this. And so the surface now is pristine, but we need to rough it up a little bit to get it flat, and then we're going to start to polish it a bit. Okay, so there's some little defects here, possibly some sawdust landed on this, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Between coats, just to be repetitive, I would sand with 320 between coats and then reapply the next coat, and then that way it would deal with this. So for now, I'm not going to apply any more finish. I've given this ample time to cure, which is this important step here. I'm going to abrade this. I've got 320 grit paper here. On my sander, I have the ability to change the speed, and it's so important. If I go all the way up to the highest speed, I'm very aggressively going to start to remove this material. I don't want to do that. I slowly want to approach flattening this thing. And so slow speed, high grit, no pressure, just kind of walking this back and forth. So let me show you what that looks like, and then we'll go to the next step. All right, just make sure I know where I'm at. All right, here we go. Okay, hopefully that was riveting. All right, so you can see that I have dulled the sheen pretty dramatically, which is good. Um, there are some highlights here that I still need to deal with, like what you see down here. That's still way shinier than I need to. And then looking at it from here, I can still see some of those areas where the imperfections kind of landed on this would finish when it was curing. But I've done the steps I was describing here on this face, so you kind of get a sense of what it is I'm after. I just want it to be nice and consistent here. So at this point, I've got a couple of different options. I need to work this by hand a little bit, and there's a series of steps. So I was working with 320 originally, now I'm going to jump up to 420, and I'm going to do this by hand. Any of those swirly scratch marks that the sander might make, I need to get rid of all of those. So 420 by hand. What I'm going to do in the next video is I'll show you that there's another trick, because I don't want to do that with just the sandpaper dry onto the finish. I'm going to have to lubricate it. So anyway, this makes it easier and better results. I'm going to turn this off and I'll catch up with you here in a sec.